Thank you, thank you, thank you. Daniel Naaman. He sure writes a few good tunes, doesn't he? Yeah. Well, today is the third Sunday of Lent, and Lent, of course, is the 40 days plus 6 Sundays between Ash Wednesday and Easter. The 40 days represents Jesus' time in the wilderness, fasting, letting go. It's incredible how many times the number 40 appears in the Bible. In the flood story, it rains 40 days and 40 nights, of course. Moses led the people in the wilderness for 40 years. And Unity typically interprets 40 as the time required, the time needed to complete a spiritual task. In Unity, our spiritual purpose, our spiritual task during Lent is to let go of unhealthy attitudes and thought patterns. Lent is a season of preparation for Easter and a time to examine how we live. No doubt there are parts of our consciousness that we would be better off without. Perhaps negative thoughts, harmful habits, less than divine behavior. What better way to prepare for a celebration of new life than to cleanse and renew our minds? Our Lenten booklet, 40 days, in our Lenten booklet, 40 Days, Let Go, Let God, from Unity Publications, we have followed Jesus' example as he showed us how to let go of negative, self-defeating, unproductive mental attitudes. We discussed letting go of the control our ego has in our lives. We all have an ego, but we don't have to let it control or dominate us by thinking either too much or too little of ourselves. We can let go. We can let God and allow the Christ within to shine in and through us. We discussed letting go of the need for others' approval. We do not need to hold ourselves hostage, in bondage, to unrealistic expectations of perfection or societal norms and conventions. We do not need to wait for others to tell us what we should think or how we should feel. And we don't have to should on ourselves either. In today's essay from our booklet, entitled Jesus Let Go of Worry, our author, Reverend Ellen Davenport, reminds us of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in the Gospel of Matthew. That's Matthew 6, 25 through 34. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet God feeds them. And you are of more value than they are. Can any of you, by worrying, add one single hour to the span of your life? Worry, of course, is feeling uneasy or being overly concerned about a situation or a problem. Worry seems to be a part of the human condition. We worry. We worry about money, careers, relationships, health, etc. If it's important to us, we worry about it. In unity, we understand that our consciousness, our thoughts, and our feelings, they shape the world that we experience. We don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are. And our mental processes dramatically alter our perception of the world. My behind follows my mind. And if we know this truth, we understand how toxic the mental state of worry is. At best, worry is unproductive. It is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it never gets you anywhere. Worrying is stewing without doing. It is mountain climbing over molehills. But when worrying becomes excessive, it can lead to feelings of high anxiety, and it can even cause us to be physically ill. With this excessive worrying, our minds and bodies go into overdrive as we constantly focus on what might happen. Not what will happen, what might happen. We may suffer from high anxiety or even panic. People who excessively worry might see anything or anyone as a potential threat. Worry can affect our daily lives so much that it interferes with our appetite, our lifestyle, our habits, our relationship, our sleep, our job performance. When we worry, we torture ourselves with useless, unnecessary suffering. And that is the very definition of hell. Chronic worry and emotional stress can trigger a host of health problems. Worry and anxiety trigger a fight or flight mechanism in our bodies. And that fight or flight response causes our body's sympathetic nervous system to release stress hormones. It suppresses our immune system. These hormones can boost our sugar levels and our triglycerides. We can bring on a host of physical symptoms, inability to concentrate, headaches, fatigue, fast heartbeat, and a host of other problems. Some people make unhealthy lifestyle choices when they worry. They might find temporary relief by turning to drugs or alcohol or smoking or overeating, but they cause their own problems. My grandmother was a chronic habitual worrier. It affected her health and her peace of mind. We had a family joke whenever we went on vacation. We don't need to worry about anything while we're gone, because Grandma will do all the worrying for us. Grandma would worry about her health, and that worry would aggravate her health conditions. She would quite literally make herself sick worrying about her health. We may have conditioned ourselves to meet experiences by worrying. We may have become addicted to worry in the same way many people become addicted to drugs and alcohol. That is literally true. We can become addicted to the stress hormones that we produce by worrying. If we don't have something to worry about, we will find something just to get our fix of stress hormones. Fortunately for us, worry is optional. It is not an automatic reflex. It's not like when the doctor uses that tiny hammer to see your knee jerk. Worry is a learned response, and we can unlearn it. We can decide for ourselves that worry is not good to us or for us. We can change our minds and change our lives. Remember, people worry about what might happen, not what will happen. Researchers at Cornell University conducted a study and discovered that 85% of what people worry about never happen. And of that 15% that does happen, 79% of the time we handle those problems better than we thought, and we can learn valuable experiences. Do the math for yourself. There is nothing to worry about 97% of the time. We can take many practical actions to help us stop or reduce our worry. Regular exercise, a healthy, balanced diet, reduced caffeine, a strong social network, and daily meditation. We can overcome worry by knowing the truth. Adeline's book club is reading Power Through Constructive Thinking by Emmett Fox, and one of Emmett Fox's teachings is that we can unlock the jail cell of our worry by using the golden key. And the golden key is, don't think about the problem, think about God. Get in tune with the infinite before we decide that a situation is hopeless. Tune into God's presence within before you decide that there's too little time or not enough money or that you're too young or too old. If we worry about money or supply, we can overcome that worry by knowing that God is our substance. God is the substance of the universe. God is our source, the source of our supply. If we worry about health, we can overcome that worry by knowing that God is our health. God made us whole, healthy, complete. And we can learn to see that wholeness within us. We can learn to express the health that we are. Express the health in all that we say, all that we think, all that we do. If we worry about our relationships, we can see the Christ presence within others. The unfailing antidote for fear and worry is prayer. In prayer, we can turn our concerns over to a higher power and know the peace that surpasses all understanding. One of my favorite prayers is, of course, the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, to the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And when we have that kind of peace, when we have that kind of serenity, there is nothing to worry about. In Matthew 11:28-30, Jesus says, "Come unto me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." So turn your worries over to God. Turn your worries over to Jesus or your higher power or whatever you got. If there's some worrying that has to be done, your higher power will take care of it. There is nothing to worry about. So let go of worry. God bless you all. And this is our opportunity, yours and mine, to pour out the gift of God from within us through our tithes and our love offerings. And if we could share this offertory blessing together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you, God. And you can send your gifts, your tithes, your love offerings to paypal.me/UnityLincoln. That's paypal.me/UnityLincoln. Or you can send your gift through the mail or through a bank transfer by sending it to Unity Lincoln, P.O. Box 30209, Lincoln, Nebraska 68503. Or you can go to our webpage at unitylincoln.org, and there you will find a convenient link to donate via PayPal. You can also help support Unity Lincoln by liking us on Facebook and subscribing on YouTube. And give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, back in good measure. God gives it back to you. Sing it over again, and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, back in good measure. God gives it back to you. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby-Doo. And help us share this affirmation for our church family. Together, Unity Lincoln is blessed to draw the people, funds, and all that is required for the health and growth of our community and peace in the world. Heart to heart.